Hi, welcome to Remax of Boulder video podcast. I'm Dwayne Duggan, and today we have DB Wilson, the broker manager of Remax of Boulder, with us again. DB oversees over 100 agents, and this year I understand DB Remax of Boulder is going to close over $1 billion in real estate. Is that really true?
It is. That's going to be an all-time record for Remax of Boulder. We're really quite proud of that.
That is absolutely incredible. So one of the things about DB is in a year's time here, he oversees about 2,400 or so transactions, about $1 billion worth of real estate sales. So he just has a wealth of information that comes into his head that he shares with all of us so that we can do a better job for our clients and know all the statistics and know all the market trends and such. So normally when we do this podcast, we break it down into 10 different things that we monitor, but today we're going to break it down a little bit tighter. We're going to be only talking about single families across the county and then breaking it down into the individual municipalities. So DB, why don't we talk first about single families in the county overall?
Okay, so we do look at all of these statistics are going to be January through September.
Okay.
So the first 3 quarters of the year. And like you mentioned, we do generally look at 10, what we call 10 vital statistics. Among them are the number of properties for sale at that time, median price, average price, sales price to list price, days on market, percent under contract, total number of sales year to date, what the interest rates is, things like that. And so what we want to do this time is not only look at Boulder County and get that overall look, but because real estate is local, sometimes hyper-local, we're going to go into the 7 other areas that we monitor in the MLS,
okay.
all within Boulder County.
Fantastic.
Okay, so in looking at Boulder County, what we've seen is that from 2006 to roughly 2011, 2012, the prices were flat, both average and median. As a matter of fact, average sales prices, while they were dropping like crazy in other parts of the country, only dropped 0.5% in Boulder County. And so again, that's 2006 to 2012. Since 2012, prices are up 26.6%, and just over $570,000 is now the average price. Median prices likewise grew just 3.8% during that same time frame, 2006 to 2012. And since 2012, they're up a little over 22%. And that figure is just under $465,000 as a median price.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, there's been over 8% more sales in 2015 than there were in 2014, for a total of 2,745 sales. So the number of sales is actually up, but the inventory is still low. And so at the end of September, there were only 907 active listings, of which 42% were under contract.
Wow, that's
so
amazing.
For all of Boulder County, that 500 homes or so are available. Not much.
What a testament, though, for the strength of our real estate market, even in very rough times for the whole country, how strong
Absolutely.
we stayed. It's pretty incredible.
Absolutely, and we have been called the most stable market by Smart Asset in the country since 1991, actually.
Amazing.
Yeah. The other interesting thing, and I can't tell you the exact percentage, but if you go to the Federal Housing Finance Agency website, fhfa.gov,
Fa-fa.
and you go to the HPI index, the Housing Price Index, since 1991, Boulder County is the #1 MSA in the country for price appreciation.
So for investors, this is the place.
It is.
Sure sounds like at the moment.
And people buying homes.
Right.
So it really does speak to how stable and what a good investment real estate is in Boulder.
Okay, so should we dive into the
Sure.
city of Boulder?
Yeah, let's look
Okay.
at the city of Boulder. And again, city of Boulder, what is our strongest area within Boulder County, has been for as long as I've been in real estate, 39 years.
That's not that long.
It's long. And during 2006 to 2012, average price was actually up 5.4%, which is very unusual in the United States during that time period. Since 2012, average prices are up 42% in the city of Boulder, and we're now just under $957,000 for an average sales price.
Average sales price is what?
Just under $957,000.
Wow. Shocking. Okay.
Yeah, it is. Likewise, median rose about 5.7% from 2006 to 2012, and since 2012 it's up about 38.5%, and the median price is $788,000. Again, a pretty hefty figure.
Yeah, almost leave me speechless. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, all right, ready for Louisville, or any other comments about Boulder?
The number of sales
Okay.
is down slightly, about 6% from a year ago. 42% of the properties are under contract, and that's only 3.4 months worth of inventory. So when we look at that, 5 to 7 months is considered a stable market. Less than 5 months would be considered a seller's market, and probably no surprise there.
Okay, so let's make the drive to Louisville, which, when you and I started, Louisville seemed like a long ways away, but
Exactly.
now we go there all the time, and it
Right.
seems fairly close. So
Right.
how's Louisville single families doing?
So the average price there has jumped 31.5% since 2011, and it's now slightly over $553,000. It used to be that people would go to Louisville if they could not afford Boulder, and as you can see, it's getting a little pricey itself.
Right.
So over $500,000 there. Median prices since 2011 are up about 32%, and that median sales price is $520,000. So, in median, half the sales are below $520,000 and half the sales are above $520,000.
Right.
So, and we do think it's important to look at both average and median, so you get a real good sense of what's happening.
A little better view of it overall.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. 56%. There's only 50 listings.
Single families in
Single
Louisville.
family in Louisville for sale, and
Wow.
56% of those are under contract.
So in reality, there's not a lot to look at when you
No.
jump in your realtor's car and go and drive around.
No, I would say that there's probably fewer buyers out there right now than what we experienced in the first half of the year. And so if you're interested in buying, I think it's a great time to be out looking at the market and seeing what is available.
So we're starting to see a little bit of our seasonal slowdown, which is
Correct.
typical of a climate like ours.
Correct.
Okay, let's move on down the road a little bit to Lafayette, just a neighboring city to Louisville.
What's interesting about Lafayette is that it was affected by the downturn, and between 2006 and 2010, average sales price dropped 16%. But since that time, prices have risen 42%, and
Wow.
now the average sales price is a little over $489,000.
Yeah.
So what I think you can see, really every area that we're talking about, is that we're relatively flat or down during the downturn, but since that time, and some of it started in 2010, like Lafayette, big appreciation, okay? And we expect that appreciation to continue just because there's not a lot of single-family homes being built.
Right.
And
Shortage
so
of
it doesn't
inventory.
really add to the supply,
Okay.
okay? Median price also dropped a little over 18% there from 2006 to 2010, but that's up 60% since 2010.
Right. Isn't it funny how some of the markets that really went down, then they come back bigger than they were before?
Yeah, well,
So,
and I think that's kind of standard stuff, the
Right.
bigger the bounce,
Right.
quite honestly. But median sales price is just under $444,000 for the city of Lafayette now. 47% less inventory than a year ago, so there's been a lot of absorption of properties, and 61% of the 51 homes on the market currently are under contract.
61%.
61%.
Okay. All right, let's drive on out the diagonal to the city of Longmont. How's Longmont doing?
Okay, so Longmont also dropped about 16% average sales price between 2006 and 2011. And now it's 39% up in the last 4 years, and is right at $341,000 for an average sales price. It had never exceeded $300,000 before.
Wow.
So it used to be that would be the least expensive, and it still is the least expensive, but it is starting to rise fairly significantly. Median prices during 2006 to 2011 dropped 10%, and it's up now 42% since 2011 to a little over 311,000. If you look at it from 2006 to 2015, that's a 17% increase.
Okay,
so
but
still, I think shows that it's a good investment.
But still, for affordability, it's probably worth the 12-mile drive over to Longmont.
Absolutely.
Compared their average
Absolutely.
and median compared to the city of
Right.
Boulder. So.
Right, and they've got a few more properties on the market, a little bit higher inventory, so there's a little bit more selection. I think one thing of note for Longmont, though, is that the sales price to list price for the year to date is over 100%. It's 100.4%, meaning that on an average basis, the seller is realizing more than their asking
Right.
price. And again, that just reconfirms how strong this market is at this point. Going into what we call the suburban plains, that is unincorporated Boulder County, east of US 36, and it too dropped about $14,000 on an average price, down from 545 down to 531 during the downturn, but now that average is 650,000. So a big pop.
Big jump, right?
Big jump, $120,000, which is 22.3% in just 3 years.
Okay, and again, suburban plains is anything not in a city like Lafayette or Louisville or Longmont,
Right.
but east of Boulder,
East
out on
of-
the prairie, we'll call it.
East of US 36, actually.
Okay,
So,
right,
okay.
fantastic.
And the median prices, they actually grew a little bit during the downturn, 2.9%, and now they've popped up 32.7% just in the last 4 years, and it's now a little over 546,000 on a median price. What I think is really interesting about the plains is if you recall, the city of Boulder, the number of sales is down 6%. In the plains, it's actually up 18%. So a lot of sales, a lot more sales that are being done out in the suburban plains.
Okay,
Going into the suburban mountains, again, that's going to be anything west of US 36 up to the county line.
which
county
includes
lines.
Netherland, right?
It would include Netherland.
Netherland,
yeah.
Jamestown, all those areas.
Yeah.
Okay,
So the suburban mountains are the only area that have not returned to peak levels. Their peak level up in the mountains was in 2007, and that peak was $531,000 on an average basis, and now they're at $492,000. Likewise, median is down about $40,000 from its high and is right at $400,000. And that's kind of the tough news, I think, for the mountains. But the really interesting fact for me is that the number of sales in the mountains this year is 36% higher than a year ago, with 385, I think it is, sales, 345 total sales. So there's been a lot of absorption of property, some of it in the lower price ranges, and I think that's affecting this median and average price. But the fact that the number of sales is up so dramatically, I really find pretty interesting.
and how about inventory in the mountains?
Inventory is off 26%.
Off?
Off.
Off.
26%, and there's only 125 active listings. And last year at this time was nearly 200, and they're 23% are under contract.
Okay,
And that's really significant because during the downturn, it was always less than 10% were under contract at any one time.
okay.
So,
that leads us down to, I shouldn't say it that way, last but not least, Superior. How's Superior doing?
Superior's doing really well. Prices are up there almost 36% since 2012, and that average price is now $566,000. Median prices have also climbed almost 40% and is now sitting at $522,000. There again, the sales price to list price is over 100% at 100.2%. So a lot of demand for that area. Limited supply, just 2.4 months worth of inventory. Again, 5 to 7 months would be a stable market, and very even market. And so it's really favoring the sellers at this time.
Okay, so story's pretty much same across the board, limited inventory, prices rising, not a lot of new construction taking up the slack in the availability of homes from what I can tell.
Absolutely. Interest rates are still low. It's at 3.89% according to Freddie Mac at the end of September, and that's down slightly from a year ago. So you can still get a lot for your money. Really helps the affordability. And again, if someone is thinking about buying a house, I would encourage them to get out now here in the next couple of months, because it'll be a great time to buy.
And one of the continual questions I get is, how long is this strength in our marketplace gonna last?
I wish I could say how long. You know, I think it is definitely going to continue in the foreseeable future. As we've talked, there's just not a lot of new building going on. There's some, but it's not enough to really offset the difference. You know, during the downturn, again, if you look at these prices being flat for so long, and during that time, what I've read is that 1 million people moved into the state of Colorado, most of them along the Front Range. This pent-up demand is going to continue for a while, and our unemployment rate, you know, we just read that it dropped to 2.6%. So there's jobs being created, there's people coming in, and they're going to want housing, and it's not going to be new builds in Boulder County. So I think it will continue for some time.
Okay, and we'll continue to keep you informed on the market so you can make proper decisions as you make your real estate choices in your life. So, DB, anything else that you'd like to add?
No, thanks for having me.
Okay, you bet. Dwayne Duggan, Remax of Boulder Podcast, signing off.